it was a lot easier the first time. I think my daughter was maybe 1.5. So she knew I was gone, but she was like very easy to console. Like, oh, daddy will be home soon, daddy will be home soon, and didn't really understand the situation. But yeah, that last fight was difficult. As she's getting older, she starts understanding more and starts asking, when is he going to be home? And they would able to come and visit me, but it's so far away, and your daughter just can't understand why there's these fences in the way, why daddy's got to wear a mask, why she's trying to crawl under the fence and come and see me, and you're just like, oh man, that last one it's a killer. That was like the most difficult part, just having them be that close to you but still so far away.
What's doing, everybody? I'm Alec Elise. Thank you for watching First Class Fatherhood. Today's guest on the podcast is Dan, the Hangman Hooker. Dan is a professional UFC fighter. He's been fighting in the UFC since 2014. He's joining me today from his homeland in New Zealand. It's an honor to have him on the podcast. Get down there, smack the subscribe button, tap that like, and let's jump into it right now with Dan Hooker on First Class Fatherhood. Joining me now, First Class Father, Dan Hooker. Welcome to First Class Fatherhood.
Oh, thanks for having me on. Yeah, excited to be on the show.
All right, well, let's start it here. How many kids do you have? How old are they?
I just have the one. I have the one daughter. Her name's Zoe, and she's 3 in November. So it's coming up third birthday very soon.
Yeah, wow, very cool. You guys going for any more, or you're one and done here?
Oh, definitely more. Just as they come, really, not in too much of a rush to get them out. I'm in for the long haul, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. I got 4 myself. It all starts with 1, though. So, if you could, Dan, please just take a minute here to hit my listeners with a little bit about your background and what you do.
So I'm a fighter in the UFC. I'm an athlete in the UFC. I've been in the UFC since 2014. So coming up 8 years fighting professionally in the UFC. And I'm currently ranked in the top 10 of the lightweight division.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Now, so you said 3 years old, your daughter. So about how old were you then when you became a dad, and how did becoming a father kind of change your perspective on life?
Oh, definitely changed my perspective. I would have been, I was quite mature when I had my daughter. They had things pretty well set up. Me and my wife we were married. We were back in New Zealand. I just bought my first property, so I think I ticked all the boxes off, if you could say that. But yeah, I would have been 28, and my wife was 25.
Yeah, really cool stuff. And what would you consider to be some of the top values that you're hoping to instill in your daughter growing up?
The top values. To just chase whatever she's passionate about. It's like very hard for me, from the path I've chosen and the career that I've taken to really push her into something she doesn't like. It'll be very difficult for me to be like, you got to go to university and be an accountant, or you got to be a doctor, or you got to be a lawyer. Come on, you need a good job. You need a steady income. It'll be very difficult for me because I've, from a very early age, knew that what I wanted to do was to be a professional fighter, to be a professional athlete. And I pursued that relentlessly until I was successful. I spent many years being very poor, living paycheck to paycheck. I was, a doorman at nightclubs. I was a bouncer at nightclubs and things like this, to stay afloat and keep chasing my dream of being a fighter. So yeah, just to chase what she's passionate about, to find what you love and to focus on that and do that, because I truly feel like I haven't worked a day in the last 10 years, which is something that a lot of other people don't have the luxury of.
Yeah, very well said. And so, what was your support system like, Dan, for you getting involved? What was the genesis of your MMA career or your fighting career? What kind of support system did you have from your family? Were they supportive of you early on, or not until things took off?
Um, they're your parents. So I grew up with my mother and father. They're your parents. So they obviously don't want to see you out there getting beaten up in cages. Like that's not high on their priority list. Um, but I guess they very early on they saw how much effort I was putting into it, how much dedication I had to it. It's not like I was like, oh, hey, mom and dad, I'm going to be a professional fighter, and then I was out there um, eating McDonald's every day and partying with my friends on the weekend. Like it wasn't like that. They could see how dedicated I was. I trained every single day. I'd go from my eight hour job, then I'd go to the gym, then I'd go to another gym, and then I'd get home at 9:30, 10 o'clock at night. I'd stay home on the weekends. I'd eat very clean. I'd eat healthy. So once they saw how much dedication I was applying to my art, to my craft, they saw how seriously I was taking it. That made it a lot easier for them to support it. I'd say my mother caught the bug a lot earlier than my father. I think my father, once the financial side of things started taking off, that's when I come home with my first big check, and he's like, "Yeah, well, if you
That's
cut
not
that
too
down,
bad.
yeah, when you cut that down, you're still working minimum wage." And I was like, "Oh well, looks like I'm gonna have to keep pushing and keep trying to be more successful."
Yeah. Now, how about as far as did becoming a father kind of did it change, not change you as a fighter, I guess, but has it made you rethink about how long you'll consider staying in the game now since you became a dad?
Like your motivation definitely changes. Everything's for her. Everything's for my daughter. Everything's for her and her future. Like everything moving forward. So I will fight as long as I can see that it's gonna positively impact her life. As long as fighting will make her life better, I will continue to pursue it and I will continue to chase it. I want to. Obviously, you don't want to affect your health to the point where you're not going to be able to see your children grow up. So that's as long as it's positively affecting her long term life and future, I will continue to chase it.
Yeah, I would imagine that's got to be difficult, Dan. I would imagine it's a lot not easier, but it makes more sense. Like when you're the single guy, and you're kind of free and loose, and you could take those risks and stuff like that. But it's got to be a difficult shift, I would imagine, for all fighters. Even watching like the Rocky Balboas, like the worst thing that Mickey says, worst thing that can happen is you get civilized. It's got to be different. There's got to be a differentiation. I know I've had Dana White on the podcast here. I asked him about that with fighters and having kids and having families. So I would imagine that's got to be difficult for you guys to do. And what about for you? What about for the parents that are out there whose kids are interested in, like you were, in MMA or a UFC type of career? What kind of advice or what age would you recommend parents to have their kids actually start taking it seriously?
Oh, it's the sport has definitely changed from when I started. I started as I walked in the gym as an 18-year-old, so I was very lucky to find it at that age. I feel like that's a good age to begin because I feel like it was my decision and I was an adult. I do see it a lot of parents pushing their kids into it a bit too much, but fighting I feel like is a bit of a different sport. Like if you're let your child nag you to take them, like I feel like that's the difference with fighting because when it comes down to it, when it comes down to touching gloves with someone and getting after it with and competing, that can't be anyone else's decision. That has to be 100% on your decision. So I feel like if your kid is nagging you, oh, take me to the gym, and they got too much energy, then I feel like it's the perfect time. But fighting is not a sport that you can push a child towards. It's a very difficult road. So I wouldn't. My daughter's gonna play tennis. Let's just put it that way. She ain't gonna be doing no boxing or kickboxing or fighting. I'm gonna push it towards tennis. I don't think I could watch it. I think if she jumped in a cage with another little girl, I'd have to scale the cage and and jump in and protect her. I don't think I could. I don't think I could stand to watch that as a father.
Well, hopefully you got a while before that'll even happen or be, a thought. But bringing it back into your daughter here, what does your bedtime routine look like? 3 years old, you a storyteller, a lullaby guy? How does the bedtime routine go down in your house?
Oh, well, I'm in training camp at the moment, so I think I fall asleep even earlier than she does. So I think once I go to sleep, and then my wife kind of points over at me and go, "Oh, look, Daddy's gone to sleep." Then she'll decide to come to sleep. So I think it's monkey see, monkey do at the moment. She sees me out for the count, and she knows it's bedtime and follows suit. So we're getting to bed nice and early.
Yeah, and I know they had that kind of iconic picture last year of you with your daughter when you had to come home and you had to quarantine because of the pandemic. What was it like for you, and how has it been for your daughter during this entire? I mean, my kids, some of my kids are old. My oldest is 15. You're young. Your only child is 3. I know this is having a huge impact on the kids across the world here with this thing. How has your daughter kind of reacted? What's been your experience throughout the pandemic as a dad?
Yeah, well, that was the second quarantine I did. So I would say it was a lot easier the first time. I think my daughter was maybe 1.5. So she knew I was gone, but she was like very easy to console, like, "Oh, Daddy will be home soon, Daddy will be home soon," and didn't really understand the situation. But yeah, that last fight was difficult. As she's getting older, she starts understanding more and starts asking, when is he going to be home? And they would able to come and visit me, but it's so far away, and your daughter just can't understand why there's these fences in the way, why Daddy's got to wear a mask, why she can't. She's trying to crawl under the fence and come and see me, and you're just like, oh man, that last one, just it's a killer. That was like the most difficult part. Just having them be that close to you, but still so far away.
And what kind of reaction does she have? Like when you come home and you are banged up or bruised up about the face, like does she have any kind of, does she get a little scared of it? Is she used to it now? What's kind of her reaction when you come home from the fights?
Oh, it's lucky that I heal pretty quick. So it's and I think that's the benefit of being in quarantine, is that by the time I get out, I'm pretty much good as new. All the stitches are closed up and the black eyes have faded and gone away. But yeah, she knows. She definitely knows what I do. But in terms of her trying to copy it or anything like this, nothing like that. She knows Daddy goes to the gym. She knows Daddy goes to fights. She knows Daddy does punching. But yeah, I've never seen her try to emulate it that much. Or she's got boxing gloves which she chucks on every now and then. But she's definitely not. She's definitely not as aggressive as her father.
Is there a certain age that you'd want her to be, or would you ever consider bringing her to one of your fights to watch live? Is there a certain age you think that would be okay for you to do?
She has come. So I was co-main event as 60,000 people in Melbourne a couple of years ago, and she was there. And also I was the main event on UFC Auckland, which is our hometown. And I was lucky enough to have my wife, my daughter, my family there cage side at that event. So yeah, she has been able to see it live, which is incredible. And she's must be my lucky star, because every time she's there, I get a good win, get a big win.
Yeah, awesome stuff. And I know you said you're in training camp now. Do you have an opponent here for your next fight? What's the next matchup for you?
So I have a date. So I'm 7 weeks, September 25th. So it's International Fight Week here or it'll be there in Las Vegas. No opponent yet. I'm still out there hunting, but I'm hopeful, and I'm training hard, and I'm hopeful that I'm going to get a matchup. But yeah, 7 weeks I'll be stepping back in, and I'm just excited.
Very cool. Last thing I want to hit you in here, Dan. I love to ask all the other dads that I get on the podcast here, what type of advice do you have for that new dad or for that about to be father who's out there listening?
Just roll with the punches. Roll with the punches, young man. Nah, I'm lucky we've got a few new dads at my gym at City Kickboxing. Kai Kara France, Brad Riddell, they're both new fathers. Shane Young, he's a new father as well. So we got babies popping up all over the place. But yeah, you just tell them, just stick with it, man. Roll with the punches and enjoy it while it lasts.
Yeah, a lot of kids popping out as a result of that quarantine stuff. So we're seeing a lot of that going on. Listen, I love the message. It's been a lot of fun for me. I got to say, Dan Hooker, you're a first-class father all the way, and thank you so much for giving me a few minutes of your time here on First Class Fatherhood.
No trouble. Thank you very much for having me on. Cheers.